had a great week, and everybody's ready to get into it. So, I want to get into a topic a few people had been messaging me on. I get tons of messages about fitness and about physical fitness and things like that. So I wanted to talk for a second about a sponsor I work closely with and get into kind of why I worked with them and why they make sense. I think a series of these videos makes a ton of sense to get into and to talk about, and this just made all the sense in the world to discuss. So I had the opportunity to spend some time with Mark Bell and the Sling Shot crew, not too long ago, not too far back, and I had an awesome time hanging with them, and I had an awesome time with his whole crew, and I have a very close personal relationship with some of his team, and I really enjoy everything that they do and how they do it and their approach. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that and talk a little bit about my experience, because I haven't really talked about it on this podcast. I've had the opportunity to talk about traveling and being all over the world and being all these places and doing all these really cool things that, whether you follow me on Instagram or you've seen in other places, I've had some awesome opportunities. But this was something that was really important to me to kind of stem into, you know, and discuss some of those journeys. So a while back, I had the opportunity to do Mark Bell's Sling Shot podcast, his Strength Cast, and meet his team and head out. I had and have a great relationship with some of his staff and some of his people, and I had a great time heading out there and had a great time spending time with them. The opportunity taught me a lot of things, and I kind of reflected on it because I was on the phone with some of the guys last night and got to talking. I understand you're doing taxes, Mark. Shout out to Mark, shout out to Daryl, shout out to everybody, Question Everything, Chuck. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you leave comments because you're still eligible for the contest, especially on my last posts. So I want you guys to pay attention to this because it's important. So I had the opportunity to head to Mark's and train with his guys and be on his podcast and spend some time with him a while back. And I can't stress that the things I learned from him and the things I learned from his team are still with me today. And some of those things were their approach to how they do things, the approach to how they handle things, and the approach to how they do their business. They were super, super informative when it came to podcasting, YouTubing, and just their love for media. From the moment I walked in, having the opportunity to spend time with his team and see how they approach things as a media opportunity was invaluable. And Mark and Andy are super gracious people. I had the opportunity to have dinner with them, and as quiet as it's kept, they are super pro 2A. So that was really awesome. I wanted to talk about them and talk about their products and why I use them for a quick second. So if you haven't checked out their bands, their elbow wraps, their knee wraps, all their different stuff, you need to. They do an awesome job articulating and creating their SKU line and do an awesome job delivering products that folks can use. Now, a lot of people ask me, the biggest thing I get asked about equipment is, what should I be using when I lift weights? I see you with wraps, or I see you with straps, or I see you with things. First of all, let me get into some of the differences. Wraps wrap around your wrist. Straps are straps that wrap around the bar. There's weight belts, there's everything else. Number one, the most important thing you can buy as a weightlifter is probably going to be a belt. Okay? You have to get yourself a good weightlifting belt. As you get older, and many of us are a little bit older, so to you young bucks, don't take this the wrong way, you have to start to wear a belt. You're going to have breaks in your movement, you're going to have issues in your movement, and you're going to need to compensate for that and have something that supports you and keeps your back nice and straight. If you don't do that, I promise you, you're going to have problems. Mark has a great line of belts. He also has a great line of wraps and straps. and they do an awesome job creating their SKUs for that. So if you take a look, he has softer wraps, harder wraps, everything in between. The biggest thing that you need to look into is clothing. So when you weight train or you train, you should have dedicated clothing. See a lot of people out there doing videos now about them washing clothes and how they maintain and care for their clothing and how they do things. That's important because nobody likes to do jiu-jitsu with the smelly person. Nobody likes to lift weights with someone who stinks. So think about that. So make sure you wash your equipment, you take care of your equipment. Now, with all that being said, this isn't a Mark Bell Sling Shot commercial, but I learned a lot from his team and their team atmosphere and how he treats his team and how his team breaks every day at lunchtime to lift weights, how they work out, how they approach things, how they approach their day, and how they attack their day and the work that they get done. And they work in one of the most cohesive units you will ever come across. And they all love who they work for and what they do. And I can't stress to you guys enough how important it is to love what you do and who you work for. And when you're in there and you spend time with Mark and his guys, you get that vibe of how much they love doing what they do and how much they love spending time working within that framework. So I will tell you this, having the opportunity to do his podcast about, I would say 8 months ago, 9 months ago, and having the opportunity to meet the people behind the page and behind the things that they do was phenomenal and was invaluable. And I really loved the opportunity. I got a chance to spend not just the day, but a dinner and some time with them and really understand their philosophy and what they're going after. So to everybody out there that wonders how I pick these products or how I pick these companies that I work with, they're not picked out of a hat. They're picked because of the relationship that I forge with the brand. And I'm going to include the link below this podcast, and you'll be able to click on it. But I can't stress to you guys enough, the theme of this is really loving what you do and loving who you work for and loving the team that you work with. And a lot of people come to me and they say how unhappy they are, where they are, or what they're doing. And I can't stress to you enough how important it is for you to go find happiness and find something you love doing. So if you're sitting in a cubicle or you're sitting in a space where you are just unhappy, you need to take a look at your surroundings. So I'm using, the conversation and the experience of spending time with Mark Bell Sling Shot to tell you guys, this is one of the reasons I partnered with them. You get a 10% discount on anything that you buy from them by using my link. So that 10% off link is down below. And you can check out, he has hoodies, he has wraps, he has straps, he has slingshots, he has elbow braces, he has knee braces, he has everything you can think of if you're going to get back into lifting weights. Now, what should you buy first, or what makes sense to get first? Because we talk about this a lot. In supplements, usually we start with a protein or we start with a pre-workout, and people are kind of like, from there it starts to get mind blown. Where does it begin and where does it end, and what makes sense for you to pour your hard-earned money in? I think everybody should own a pair of wrist wraps. Let me say that again. I think everybody should own a pair of wrist wraps. Everybody should own a pair of wraps, okay? And everybody should own a belt. And I said that earlier. Now, can you get away without having a belt for a long time? If you're young, you recover quickly, and you don't get a lot of back pain and you're not lifting super heavy, you can. Absolutely. So one of the things we'll be doing in the coming weeks as we get away from some of these giveaways, we'll be doing some giveaways with Mark and with his stuff. And I look forward to bringing that to you guys. So I can't stress enough the importance of when I do a post, to all you guys that are in here right now, when I do a post and I ask you guys who you'd like to see sponsor or who you'd like to see get behind the podcast, this is really important the next couple weeks. because I'm going to be making my schedule for not only the NRA show, but any upcoming shows on who I should be going to talk to. So when you guys tag a company, it helps me open the door to say, here's what I'm doing. A lot of them know who I am, but I'm able to have a conversation about what I'm doing and what's going on. So tagging the original sponsors is always great and helpful, but let me know some of the new ones that you'd like to see me work with. Especially when it comes to optics, because I can work with them through Kenzies if that's the case. But in fitness, if there's a particular company you want to see me work with in the fitness space, please let me know. So let me know what companies you see out there that you like. If there's any, you can comment them now, but put them in the post. So it creates an opportunity for me to engage in a conversation with them. And I'll be visiting some of them in SHOT Show and some of the different shows and talking to them and just letting them know, hey, here's who I am, here's what I'm doing, and this is what I think fits for you, or this is what I think makes sense for you. And it's a, it's an easy conversation for me to have, and I like supporting all you guys and giving you guys a taste of the industry and a taste of the business and kind of getting the opportunity to participate. So, Daryl, that's great if you're going to make a trip to Indy. So talking for a minute about NRA, and I'm glad you brought it up. NRA is a great experience. I've said many times, and I will do a dedicated NRA episode. NRA is a great show to go to. I recommend it highly over SHOT Show. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's a great opportunity to get out there and to meet some of the great companies that you love working with. One of the things I get inundated with, though, and I'll warn everybody in here, is a lot of people ask me about getting lunch or getting dinner. People come up to me, and they want to have 2-hour conversations. Dan Frenny will attest to this. It's very, very hard for me. I get super, super busy. It's not that I don't love seeing everybody. It's not that I don't love talking to everybody. But it's very hard for me to pull myself away from a lot of the things that I have. I don't even eat lunch at a lot of these events. I don't even go to lunch at a lot of these events. I just don't have the time. So I apologize for that ahead of time. I apologize to you guys for anyone who reaches out or says, hey, can we get together? Can we spend some time? And I just don't have the bandwidth, to be honest with you, to set nights apart, especially with an NRA show, because the show is very, very short. It's a very quick show. So a lot of people, forget that. Let me get into the contests for a minute. So there's a ton of contests going on, and you guys probably get caught up in the hysteria of the contests, okay? I do too sometimes, so I apologize. We are giving away a Taurus. So we are giving away a Taurus. We're going to do that Thursday, or we're going to do it Sunday, but we are giving away a Taurus. So you need to go back to your old ways of commenting, sharing, tagging. Okay, maybe I'll have either Gunjitsu or I'll have Daryl pick a winner. I'll have somebody pick a winner, and we are going to give away a Taurus. I usually leave it up to you guys. I'll give you a few suggestions, on maybe who I see out there doing a lot of activity, but I'll have somebody pick a winner for the Taurus. I kind of abstain from some of the big prizes. I do my best to stay out of it. I make suggestions on who maybe triggered me or I saw something that I liked, but we're going to give away that. We are going to give away, I have a whole pile of Tops knives. I dropped the ball a little bit, I'll admit it, guys, on Tops, okay? I have a whole bunch of Tops stuff, and I'll show you, give you an example of one. I have a mixed, it's a very mixed bag of stuff. I'm going to try not to damage the packaging, but you get the HP 100 oil, and you get a really cool blade, an EDC blade. And these are about they're honestly almost a $100 value. They're about a $70 value. So we'll be giving these away. This is why I have the Patreon, guys. So if you head over to Podbean and you give to the patron helps me pay to ship these out, okay? And that, I don't promote the patron like crazy, but I ask you guys, if you head over there and it's $1 or whatever it is you give, the Patreon account that's available through Podbean is huge. So check it out. even if it's $1 and you guys want to participate, or head on the website, pick up a shirt, anything. Check out some of the supplements. I'm still giving away Gargoyles glasses to anybody who buys an Onnit nutrition product. So if you buy an Onnit nutrition product, you get a pair of Gargoyles. I'm doing that right now temporarily. So, a few things. There's a lot of reasons that go into choosing these companies. And I made this one about Mark Bell Sling Shot for the simple fact that Mark and his team had a very profound effect on me and on how I look at ambassadors, how I look at creating ambassador footprints. And I've taken that practice into the different brands that I work with. And in the different brands that I work with, working with sponsored athletes, ambassadors, and the different companies, it's really important for me to kind of always analyze, are we using these people properly? Are they being implemented properly? And Mark does a great job with his team of creating that. Okay? Jonathan bought a shirt. He says it's true fit after you wash it. So there you go. Usually, you buy like a half size up just because when you wash it, it's gonna cinch up a little bit. So hopefully you guys understand everything I'm trying to talk to you about Mark Bell. Now, stemming off of that, a lot of people ask me about travel. I get asked this all the time. Traveling and training. How do people travel and train? There's endless videos out there of me, Tony, Branch, Guy, whoever. We travel and we train all the time. And people are always blown away by that. Like, you guys are always on the road, you're traveling, you're training, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, you have to just get it in and get it done. And you see people like Dan Frenny adopting that. You've seen people like Suresh adopt that philosophy over the years. When you hit the road, it's not an excuse to not train. Does that mean you have to go to a gym and you have to rip weights? No. In my top 5 fitness products I mentioned, companies like X-Bands, companies like Mark Bell's, companies that you can get products that you can throw in your bag when you travel, whether it's resistance bands, whether it's a small kettlebell or a sand weight that you can do a little bit of working out. Okay? Daryl has to go. We'll say goodnight to Daryl. Daryl, make sure you enter the contest. Make sure you participate. But there's a lot, you guys can do. And, there's a lot you can participate in very, very easily. So you have to just be proactive. You know what I mean? You have to be proactive. So make sure that you take the time to do some of the research. Look at the top 5s I put up. I won't steer you wrong. This is stuff that's worked for me. Stay with it. Stay with it even though you don't want to. When you travel, I always try to find a hotel that has a gym or a hotel that's geographically close to a gym. And my wrist wraps and my wraps come with me. So make sure that you create these processes in the things that you do. Like, I always look for Holiday Inn Expresses. A lot of your Holiday Inn Expresses, especially when I'm on the road, they have a built-in gym. It might be small. It may be just a treadmill. It may be somewhere I can just do some push-ups, but I can still get the workout in. So to a lot of you guys, I say, try to find a chain of hotels or find somewhere where you can go. And I will tell you this, talking about, Mark Bell, his team, Sling Shot, and understanding their philosophy, you have to get the workouts in. No matter where you go and what you do, whether it's a 10-minute walk every day. Mark's a huge proponent of 10-minute walks. He does a thing called Walk and Talk, where you can tune into him and you can see him walking and doing a little chit-chat. You can do anything that's going to keep your heart rate moving, keep you engaged, keep you in cardiovascular strength. That's the term I'm looking for. But anything that's going to get you going. A 20-minute workout with no weights is better than doing no workout at all. So make the time, create the time, and make sure that you guys spend enough time on the path that you build up that consistency. where it's every day I'm going to, like today was my day off from the gym. I still went because I have the ability to go, and I did 20 minutes on the treadmill. No big deal. 20 quick minutes, got my heart going. I walked at a brisk pace. I did some abs after really fast, cranked out some abs, and that was it. So make sure that you take the time to develop a routine, and develop a routine that is sustainable. And the more you develop that routine, the better you're going to be. You know what I mean? So I know you guys do, but make sure you stick with it. So with that being said, there's a few things I want to give you. I want to give you my top 5 things, because I love top 5s, you can do right now, or top things you can do right now that will put you on that path. You can change your diet. You can do that right now. Don't have a soda tonight. Have water. Don't have that extra helping of pasta. Don't have a carb tonight that you'd normally have. Don't have cookies. Don't have donuts. Okay? I'm getting a call from Real World Tactical while I'm on this. So don't do that. Number 2, if you're not going to go to the gym, or you don't foresee yourself getting a gym membership and that's not in the cards for you, go buy yourself some bands. You can do a lot of things with bands. Go get some bands. Okay? X-Bands is a great resource. I have a link for X-Bands down below. Get yourself some wrist wraps. Get yourself some straps. Okay? It'll help you develop strength, wrist strength, hand strength. And it'll help you. Okay? Get yourself the right equipment. People always say leaving the sneakers and the shorts and the stuff out helps. Okay? The next thing, and probably the most important, if you can't make the time, create the time. And what do I mean by that? If you don't have the time, and that's people's favorite thing, wake up at 4 in the morning. Wake up at 5 in the morning. Wake up at 5:15. Give yourself 20 minutes to do 20, 30 push-ups. Give yourself 20 minutes to do 20, 30 crunches. Okay? Get a physio ball for your house to do some crunches and stretch. And probably my last one, because I'm not going to get too deep into it, is make sure you're consistent. Whatever path that you create it and you stay with it for at least 10 to 12 weeks. And then I promise you, if you follow those things, you're going to find yourself in a gym, or you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're just getting it in. And I know a lot of guys say, you get a lot of guys that do this. I'm disgusting, John. I don't know where to start. I'm in horrible shape. Who fucking cares? Go and get on the treadmill. And if weights in the gym are not your thing, forget about everything I just said and then go join up for a jiu-jitsu class. I've been in jiu-jitsu classes with guys who have missing limbs, who are burn victims, who don't have, it's a very easy, it's the level that you want to take it to. Okay? I think Crispy's a blue belt. So you can do whatever you want. I don't like to do treadmill cardio all the time. I walk outside. I don't like to do, that type of cardio. Sometimes I'll box. I'll hit the bag for 10 minutes. That's a great workout. Jump some rope for 20 minutes. There's a lot of things you can do. So I want to take a minute and I want to thank Mark Bell Sling Shot for showing me and giving me the opportunity to go to his facility back when I did and start to understand some of these different things and philosophies and start to develop an understanding for how they approach media and how they do things. It was a great experience, and I've had many of them, but his was a tremendous experience. The Slingshot crew is one of the finest crews of people I've ever been around, and they're one of the finest groups of individuals to spend time with. And they do a great job curating and developing their products. I want to remind everybody about the contests. There's a bunch of them going on, but make sure you go to my last post and you thank the sponsors and you tag some that you'd like to see. Make sure you head over to the YouTube, like and subscribe, and make sure that you leave a bunch of comments, okay? And like a bunch of other people's comments. Support your teammates. And if you want to give to the Patreon on Podbean, go ahead. And make sure you download all the current episodes. I can't do this without you guys, so I really appreciate everybody who participates. And I appreciate everybody who gets involved. So thank you. I hope everybody has a great night. I hope everyone's having an awesome week. I hope everybody's really getting it done. And I hope you have great dinner with your families and a phenomenal night. I'll talk to you guys soon.